from the Northern Marianas for 5 minutes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman and Ranking Member, for holding this hearing. Good morning, Madam Secretary. It's nice to see you again. Thank you very much for your service to our country. And Secretary Courtney, well, I got that right? Deputy Secretary, yeah, thank you, congratulations, and thank you for, Madam Secretary, thank you very much for signing over the mineral rights to the Northern Marianas government just last month. That was an important step. And as we proceed, we also, would like to now, the next step for Congress is to include the Northern Marianas in the U.S. and the other U.S. territories in the Outer Continental Shelf Act. Chairman Hastings' bill, H.R. 2231, although we have some issues there, passed and accomplishes that itself. But the next step would be for the administration to complete the co-management agreement between the Commonwealth government and your Fish and Wildlife Services, so that the submerged lands in the island units and the monument can be handed back to the Northern Marianas. We appreciate that. I'm just going to ask you if you could give me a status report on those negotiations ongoing. I would really like to put a time frame to it, set a goal. You come from the world of business. Could you, if you can't do it now, get us a status, a progress report, and a set goal, if I may, please?
Yes, thank you very much. We have directed the Fish and Wildlife Service and the National Marine Fisheries Service to work together with you. I don't have a specific deadline, but we will ask them about that.
Go ahead and say next month. They'll all jump and get it done next month.
I think that's probably unrealistic, but I will say that Eileen Sobek, who was our Acting Assistant Secretary for Insular Affairs, is now head of the National Marine Fisheries Service. She understands your issues well.
I met her the other day.
And will play a critical role in this.
Thank you. And, we could get your Assistant Secretary for OIA on board soon, so she would be a stronger advocate for us. Madam Secretary, on ABC initiatives, this committee, I'm also on the Education Committee, and that's why I support your department's ABC initiative for all the insular areas. The Army Corps of Engineers was tasked with identifying infrastructure niche in all the schools in the insular areas. And that was good investment, I think. But one thing I'd like to know a little bit more is the President's budget recommends moving $1.7 million from Compact Impact Discretionary Funds from OIA that OIA gets, and putting that money into the ABC initiative. I understand this money would pay for something called embedded maintenance teams, and the teams would help each school system with planning and technical support. But each of the insular areas, American Samoa, Guam, the Northern Marianas, and the U.S. Virgin Islands, would be expected to come up with $1 million for the actual materials for the school improvements. This doesn't sound like a very good trade-off as far as I'm concerned. We lost $1.7 million of Compact Impact money that could go directly into education, and instead we get embedded teams. Could you please have someone either make me understand this or get back to me and make me fully understand this a little bit more? Maybe there's a rationale there that I don't get.
Well, we're happy to provide more detailed response, but overall, we're trying to be more efficient and effective in response by combining the efforts. The Army Corps is looking at a regional effort.
I understand that.
And they believe they can achieve better economies of scale by doing that than doing it piecemeal. So we're happy to get more detailed numbers back to you.
And I know this is probably unfair to you, but we have until tomorrow, the close of business tomorrow is to get our recommendations to the Appropriations Committee. So I don't know if we can get it this afternoon, but we appreciate that. Madam Secretary, technical assistance grants are truly important to the insular areas, to the Northern Marianas in particular. Your office has kept our only hospital open, and please know that we're very grateful for that. Thank you. And the proposed funding for TA money in fiscal year enacted level, and I know I may be going back. My staff said I'm getting down in the weeds with this, but oh shoot, I don't have too much time. But 15 years ago, your department invested in financial management softwares for all the insular areas so we could get complete, uniform financial information. That was 15 years. Don't you think maybe, could I we should start thinking about maybe doing some upgrades to those softwares. I mean, financial information is truly critical to the islands. And one last thing, Madam Secretary, is the Japanese American Confinement Sites Grant Program. Where I am supporting that because my parents were interned during the war. And although there were different circumstances, they were not in the Japanese, they were interned in the war. I've heard their stories, and we need to keep this in our history so that we don't have to do it anymore. I mean, it's very important. And again, thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I yield my time.
I thank